So at that time, I decided then I would trim it down to a three-piece lineup, guitar, bass, and drums, and start writing for that, and challenge myself to see if I could write full-sounding music with a three-piece band as opposed to a seven-piece band. And I also figured that would make touring a lot easier.
Yeah, definitely.
People's schedules and everything. So,
most definitely, yeah.
Less gear. And that was a real challenge. I mean, it was for me to. Another big challenge was I wanted to play guitar and sing, but not make it seem like the two elements were rhythmically connected. And because often you'll hear like singers and their vocal line goes with the guitar riff, and I wanted to separate those and make sure that they stayed separate and sounded like they were two separate people doing those parts. And over time, I definitely felt like I achieved that. And so we did those tours, and when we finished those tours, I kind of came back and I said, okay, well, I've done that. I've checked it off the list.
Yeah.
Now what? And so I went back in the studio and was recording pretty heavily, working on rock material still. And then the real moment of epiphany was I was working on what I thought was going to be the last track of the rock album, and it was just going to be a sound collage. And it was raining one day, and I ran 90 feet of cable out to the front door of my studio and set a microphone up on the doorstep and recorded about 15 minutes of cars driving by in the rain. And so pulled that back in and just started adding layers and layers and layers to that and being artsy and creative again, which reminded me of sort of the previous Aboriginal style of music.
Sure.
And it wasn't really supposed to be a song, but the more I added to it, the more song-like this piece became. But I realized my approach was very different. It was experimental again. And I realized that I had missed that. So that really sparked a re-interest in just experimenting and playing with sound again. So I kind of shelved that album, and I'm still sort of playing with it, which basically with the next release that's about to happen, I took one of the songs from that album and we re-envisioned it with all the remixes.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm still going to be using that material. It's still going to be released in some format, whether it's as a complete album together or split into several different pieces. I'm not sure yet.
Okay.
But in re-envisioning this particular song, we've also done a video, which I was very lucky to encounter a great director, Herschel Smith Jr., and we decided we wanted to do something a little outside the box music video-wise. We didn't want to do your standard standing on stage or playing an instrument in a corner with strobe lights or whatever. So we decided we wanted to do a film, and we'd shoot it like it was a trailer for an action film.
Nice.
And you could, attribute that a little bit to maybe Beastie Boys Sabotage, give you the idea of what we're doing. But we took it sort of a Guy Ritchie, Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels angle approach to it. So very Brit gangster.
Mm-hmm.
So we have, there's drugs, murder, crime bosses, like everything going on in this. And it's a quick action film. We got bodies being disposed of. It's a lot of fun. Great cars. We had fun with... we got to drive Jaguars and all kinds of cool cars for the video. So.
Now, was that more fun than making the album itself, or?
The video was a lot of fun. It was a huge cast.
Yeah.
We didn't want to shoot it in Boston because I wanted to find an urban environment that people wouldn't necessarily recognize, because we wanted to give it that sort of Brit look.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So Herschel was able to come up with some great locations.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a bit of traveling, and it was a large cast too.
Yeah.
So,
how many?
Maybe close to 20 people, cast and crew entirely.
Wow.
So so we shot it in some machine shops and in various clubs, and it's sort of a story of two crime bosses. My friend Gene Dante, the other singer that I spoke about earlier, he sort of plays the overboss, the Godfather,
mm-hmm.
and sort of two competing crews who are trying to get a hold of this key. and the key is to a locker or something number 42, which is sort of a reference to Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Oh, yes.
Meaning of life.
Yep.
So it's two crime bosses killing to find the key to the meaning of life.
Mm-hmm.
And that's our sort of behind the scenes joke for what the whole video is about.
Cool.
So we have that one, and we're actually going to be starting a sequel to it.
Mm-hmm.
So there'll be a second installation to that story with a whole new song that we'll be shooting over the summer.
Not bad.
So yeah.
So you've definitely put a lot of work into this new release. I mean, just like making a CD itself is a huge undertaking.
Mm-hmm.
But adding to that all the work you've done with the music video, do you think you'll be doing this for any and all future releases, or was this just something that kind of happened?
Well, the idea was definitely to see if I could make it so it was sustainable.
Mm-hmm.
And do it for as many releases as possible.
Cool.
Because basically music video is the medium of advertisement for music these days.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, with YouTube and all the free access to video that people have, that's really the way to get the word out. And if you make an interesting enough video, people will check it out, and people that may necessarily not have heard your music in the first place might run across it if the video is, out there enough and interesting. So,
all right.
So that was the goal.
Cool.
So.
All right. Well, we're going to actually take a break right now and listen to one of the new tracks from John's upcoming CD, Cannonicus 3.14.
Mm-hmm.
This is the Cannonicus Sundance.